podcast party. Descent into Avernus.
My name is Painbearer Corbin Shiv. My friends and I have claimed the sword of Zariel. Now, we're heading back to the stolen city of Elturel to free it from Avernus, or die trying.
The four of you speed through the hellish skies of Avernus, chasing after Zariel's flying fortress. It is 5 or 6 minutes into your flight that you begin to see on the horizon a massive cloud of dust. Wreathed around it are flames the size of skyscrapers and humongous clouds of greenish smoke. The echoes of war reach your ears from what seems to be miles away. Whatever is occurring is a titanic battle. This is most likely the front line of the blood war itself. Renascence. Gargs contacts you in your mind.
Renascence, are you there?
I'm listening.
Now that you have the sword, it is important that you listen to me very, very carefully. Zariel knows that you are the most serious threat to her plans. The sword can destroy the companion and release the one within. If that occurs, the city will be freed. Of that I have no doubt.
That's the plan.
She has moved to hasten Elturel's descent into the Styx. Zariel will not allow you to foil her plans to kill every living man, woman, and child in Elturel and bring their souls under her sway. She is an unstoppable force, unlike any that you have met.
Is this your version of a pep talk, Gargs?
I appreciate your sense of humor as I always have, but to you and you alone, I must speak. You are all powerful. Much more powerful than when I first met you in that horrid dungeon below Baldur's Gate. There is a chance, small though it may be, that I can assist you overcome Zariel and her forces, and at the same time, finally be released from the shield. I have waited long, but there is finally a chance it can be done.
Go on.
There is one amongst you. The priest, Corbin. He is powerful in his faith, misplaced though it may be, to his god in martyr. If he were to supplicate for divine intervention to his god, and if his deity could act on his behalf to release me, for it is only the power of a god or a powerful spell that could do so. If he can, I will produce a contract and swear to you all that I will aid you in your quest to defeat Zariel, if you all sign it, of course. What say you?
What would be the forfeit of that contract? Say he asks Ilmata to free you. You come out, you produce a contract, says you'll help us defeat Zariel. What happens if you don't do that?
What happens if I don't?
Yeah, if you break the contract, there's a forfeit usually.
Oh yes, of course. Well, I could make it something worth your while. Perhaps a wish?
If you don't help us defeat Zariel, you go back in the shield.
There is a long silence.
As there should be.
Garg says,
Renascence, you're showing your heritage now, aren't you?
I learned from the best.
I will say to you now something that I've never said to any living creature. You would make a fantastic ruler of hell.
Take that in the spirit you intended it, Gargs. What do you say to the offer?
I accept.
Corbin.
What?
Pull over.
Pull over.
I pull up beside Corbin on Beaky. I pull up beside Lulu on Beaky.
What? What's up? This is great.
And Ophelia's riding with Corbin, correct?
That's
Yes.
correct, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I will convey exactly the terms that Gargs has just offered and ask what everyone thinks.
Wait, you wanna
Oh, you gotta help him. What if he helps us fight or defeat or whatever Zariel? Then is he gonna just attack us when we're weak?
Probably, yeah.
Well, that's gotta be part of the contract.
Yeah, we could insert a clause that, he's got to fuck off for a while after that.
Like 1,000 years or something.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
I don't know. I've never asked him to, something like that. He might get mad at that.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking you, Corbin, because it's you that's got to talk to your god about it, I don't want to make you do anything you don't want to do.
I don't think it'll always work. I think it's only a little tiny chance it'll work. What if it doesn't? What if I try and we fail?
Well, then we've held up our end. All we can put is that you supplicate Ilmata. If Ilmata don't want to participate, well, that's on Ilmata, isn't it?
Right, so I can only ask him that like one time a day. I might need it for later.
I have a special skin in the game, as you mortals like to call it. When we were all at the Tower of that errant archmage called me by a moniker which I personally despise, the Fallen Lord. I think it was only you that noticed it. He called me that for a very good reason. In the time before time, I was the ruler of Hell. I was known as the 10th Lord. As Modius, as he styles himself now, bested me to become the ruler of Hell. That bastard implanted me in the shield, because he knows that I am his only competition. Restored to my former self, I can say I am more than a match for some errant archduke. But if not, I can say for sure that your chances are slim.
Do I believe his story about, being stronger than Zariel and having once ruled all the hells himself?
Make an insight check.
13.
It's hard to necessarily tell.
Well, I'm worried that it's true, because if it is, then he's a bigger threat than Zariel, and I probably can't let him out. If we're all agreed, I would be, I don't want to say comfortable, I'm not comfortable at all. I would propose having him drop a contract where our end of it is Corbin asks Ilmater to free Gargoth from the shield. In exchange, Gargoth works with us to ensure that the companion is destroyed, including helping us fight Zariel should that become necessary in the course of destroying the companion. And upon the completion of the destruction of the companion...
And Elturel's return to the service.
Yep.
Yeah, right. And Elturel's return to the prime material plane. Gargoth promises not to harm or interfere with mortals for 1,000 years. And, if he violates the contract, he's confined to the shield again.
If you are sort of writing this draft of the compact in midair, he says,
Perhaps I might add that while bound by this compact, no intentional harm shall befall either party by the other party's hand.
But yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But if you violate the contract, you're going to get popped back in the shield.
And what if you violate the contract?
Don't worry about it, Gogs. You want out of the shield or not?
make a persuasion check.
We could just drop him in the sticks if he doesn't want to
drop you. Actually, it's pretty heavy. I'm kind of feeling my arm's getting tired. I might just slip you off. My persuasion check was a 25.
Yeah, Gargoth says,
I see your point. Show me the contract and I shall sign it.
Ren,
Yeah, what is it?
I think there's one little problem I have.
Yeah.
I'm doing something bad, and I'm asking Ilmata to do something bad. I think, whether he helps or not, he has to free you from your contract with him.
Well, to be honest, Corbin, according to my contract with him, I'm free of it as soon as he gets out of the shield.
What if Ilmata won't help? Then you're still in your contract.
Yeah, you could tell Ilmata that he'd be taking away my suffering, I guess. And hopefully the suffering of all those people in Elturel.
And Hylan's suffering, mine. Not that mine matters, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, I know the problems of two people don't amount to a hill of beans in this crazy world, Corbin. Yeah, if you could try to tell Ilmata that he'd be relieving my suffering and Hylan's and all of ours, and then...
What I'm suggesting is that part of this contract, whether Ilmata helps him or not, he releases you. Gargs releases you.
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to add that, Matt, that Gargs voids my previous contract with him if we ask Ilmater to help. In other words, Corbin doing this for Gargs would void my contract with Gargs.
That way I'm doing it for Ren and not for Gargs.
If that's the case, Garg states,
Well, you can't have your cake and eat it too. I'll be more than happy to allow Renascence out of his contract with me, but interfering with mortals is unfortunate what fiends do best. Once I'm released from the shield, you can be certain that once Renascence is allowed out of his particular deal with me, I'll have to do what I do. So it's either Ren or everyone else.
100-year ban instead of 1,000-year, and that's our final offer.
100 years is a blink of an eye to me. Done. 100 years of no interference with mortals and Renaissance's out of his contract. But all of this is, of course, dependent on if your silly little god will actually let me out.
No, it's contingent on the ask.
I'm just going to ask.
As long as we make a legitimate as Corbin makes a legitimate supplication to Ilmata. We can't control what Ilmata does.
Fair enough.
and you see that a fiery line of text in Infernal burns its way through the piece of paper that you have all sort of scratched up and scratched out and finally come to concord with.
All right, Corbin.
Corbin, after reading through it and assuming everything's okay, he will sign it. All right, there, I did it.
All of you must sign it.
I signed it as well.
Ophelia signs it.
Yeah, so we call Hylan over
Hylan, come here.
and we'll explain to her the situation.
Why do we all need to sign it? So that he knows that I won't attack him?
Yeah.
We have no time. If this is the price, I'll sign it. And I'll sign it.
I hate signing these contracts.
I know.
Me too.
All right, Corbin will bow his head and he's going to stretch out his arms so his hands are just blowing in the breeze.
Ilmata, I've never asked you directly for something, but my friend Ren, he's a good person, and if anyone deserves to get out of this, I think it's him, and I want to save his soul, and to do so, unfortunately, I'll have to do a bad thing to do a good thing. Sort of the story of my life, I think. You gave me the power to talk to you and ask you directly, so I guess you know better than me. And I'm going to ask you if you could free Gargo, the Hidden Lord, from that shield so that he could help us in the coming whatever it is we're going to do with Zariel. Hopefully not have to fight, but most important, we want to free Elturel from being pulled into the sticks and save all those souls that remain and all the people. And you know, that's what I've always wanted. Well, ever since I became a Painbearer. So, do you think you could do that, please?
And Corbin will use divine intervention to speak to his god and attempt to free Gargo, the Hidden Lord, from the shield.
Oh my god.
So let's talk about divine intervention. You have the crazy game-shattering ability to call upon your deity in order for them to do something kind of amazing on your behalf. What you need to do is describe the assistance, which is what you've done, and then roll percentile dice. And if you roll a number equal to or lower than your cleric level, then your deity will intervene. So you are a level 13 cleric. So if you roll 13 or lower, let's see what happens.
Here we go. I rolled a 59.
Oh. Gargoth probably wails in fury as well. There is nothing. He remains inside the shield. Divine intervention, unfortunately, has been used, and Gargoth stays inside the shield, at least for the time being.
Thank you, Corbin.
You're welcome. It didn't work, but tell your friend Gargoth I could try tomorrow, assuming we survive.
Gargoth spits in fury. He's like,
There is no tomorrow!
Gargs ain't taking it that well, Corbin. But you made the honest supplication, which means I'm free.
I like that.
Corbin's got a huge smile on his face right now.
Thank you, Corbin.
Of course.
Hopefully there is a tomorrow for all of us.
We got Lulu, we're flying, Ren is free.
Gargoth, while Corbin is spouting all these epithets of positivity, and as you fly towards the epicenter of the blood war, Gargoth says something in a very chilling voice to you, Renascence, and he says,
You know you're all going to die.
Oh, Gargs. You don't know anything about me after all this time. Have faith, Gargs. Have faith
He doesn't respond.
Hylan's an angel. We got all this great stuff. I think we're all right. I think we're gonna be all right.
You can see Zariel's flying fortress a couple of miles in the distance, and beyond that, the city of Elturel. The city of Elturel is hours, if that, from plummeting directly into the river Styx. Whatever mechanisms are attached to those chains have clearly ratcheted up. Elturel hangs just above the river Styx. The iron spikes that anchor the city have dragged it nearly to the river's banks. There are hordes of demons and devils flying around the city like insects, like gnats, and a battle rages fiercely beneath it. Gouts of fire, clouds of poisonous fumes wreathe the fields of the blood war. There are thousands of fiends clashing in Elturel's shadow. I'm going to ask you folks to tell me what it is that you want to do. There are two obvious sort of end points here. You could go searching for Zariel. She would probably be in the thick of it. Second option, you could fly straight towards the companion, hovering 300 feet over Elturel, and seek to shatter it using the sword, and thus destroy the sword forever.
I mean, my feeling is I can't see why we wouldn't head for the companion.
Yes, we have to go for the companion.
Save the people.
Yeah, and frankly, I find it hard to believe that as soon as she sees us doing that, Zariel's not going to come for us anyway.
Exactly.
You know, I'd rather try to shatter the companion, and if Zariel wants to stop us, she can fucking show up, and maybe we can have a chat, and if it goes south, then maybe we'll have to fight her, but I don't see why we wouldn't go for the companion. We might have only one chance to help these people.
Before we get there, I want to do a couple things real quick. Hylan, come here. Quick.
Okay.
Hylan flies in. Corbin is going to cast a spell on her that he's never cast before. He's going to cast Death Ward on her at 4th level. And what this spell does, you touch a creature, you give them protection from death. The first time the target drops to 0 hit points as a result of taking damage, the target instead drops to 1 hit point.
Wow, thank you.
I am going to cast Warding Bond on Hylan, so I clack our platinum rings together, and I am then going to cast Death Ward on Corbin.
Yes.
Whoa, but I was going to give you this.
And he gives Renascence the Vigilant Blessing, so you'll have advantage on initiative checks.
Nice.
Gonna give everybody dark vision, 300 feet. I don't think we'll need it, but...
So he's going to give everybody Eyes of Night, including Lulu. We all have 300 feet of dark vision. I don't know if we'll need it.
Couldn't hurt to have it.
I don't have anything like that to give, so I will just try to fight like hell. Try to stay close to me. Try to stay close.
One more thing.
Corbin is going to cast Aid, and he's going to give each of his friends, at 3rd level, he's going to give each of his friends 10 points.
Awesome, thank you.
Lulu.
Yeah!
We're gonna go to the companion. You know who's gonna probably show up, right?
Whoa. You gonna go straight to companion? That thing off, that big, giant, blue, floaty thing?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, Corbin. I am not flying directly to the companion. There's like demons and devils. They're all flying all over that place. Listen, they're gonna tear me apart.
Well, what's your suggestion?
And she points with her trunk at High Hall. Well, that's the highest point in the whole city. If we land near High Hall, we can fight our way through if there's demons or devils and get all the way up to the highest point and then fly directly up from there.
Oh, you just want to take a different route.
Well, I'm not gonna go straight for the darn thing because there's just too many things flying around the darn city. They're gonna kill me.
Oh, all right. Change of plan, everyone. I think we're gonna go like a different route. We're gonna go down and to High Hall and then straight up, right? Is that it? Straight up?
Isn't that where all of the refugees are? Wouldn't we just be drawing all of the attention
I'm afraid
to
we'd
the
be
refugees?
putting a target on them, yeah.
I think there already is a target. And if they get pulled into the sticks, it ain't gonna make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
They're in the catacombs underneath. I think Lulu wants to land on top of High Hall, right?
She didn't mention on top of High Hall, but she
wants
mentioned
to go
like
into it and fight our way to the topmost part of it and then go out onto the roof and then go to the companion.
Exactly. Yeah.
Why?
Because above it, everything's flying around, right? So if we go in low, they might not see us, is kind of what she's saying. And is that how it looks to us? Like can I make a perception check to see if...
Yeah, sure.
28 on perception?
Yeah, I mean, you can see that buzzing above the city, like swarms of angry bees. There are dozens of demons, flying devils, devils on flying nightmares, Narzagons, you remember they were called. They're all just battling above Elturel, above it and below it. It seems to be the epicenter of the conflict on this plane of hell.
Is there a clear path, like at the same level of it or something, that we could be able to get through to?
With a 28 perception, if you landed at the promenade, which you remember is this long span of ground, it's like Central Park just in hell, that if you landed there, you could make your way through that area to the front steps of High Hall and see what you could from there.
I think that path looks the best, down the promenade.
All right.
Okay, let's go.
Dive, Beaky. Dive.
Beaky flaps down towards the base of the city, following Lulu through some of the streets, and then lands at midway between the easternmost end of the promenade and High Hall itself. You can now see High Hall from your position. In between yourself and High Hall, although you yourselves seem to have not been spotted, there are a number of obstacles in your way, unfortunately. There are low-hanging clouds of what you could assume to be poisonous fog. You could potentially fly over it, but the problem is that there are giant flaming catapults of flaming rock from the siege engines of hell. So what I'm going to ask you to do before you even get to the front steps is to make 3 either dexterity or wisdom checks. And these are stealth or survival checks to navigate this area of the battlefield. They're going to be of increasing difficulty. It's individual.
I rolled stealth and I got a 32.
Whoa. Corbin rolled a 9 with stealth.
I got a 12 on survival.
Ofelia got a 21 on stealth.
I'm going to forego Lulu and Beaky. Corbin and Renascence, unfortunately, you failed the first group check, which means that you will take, from this wave of poisonous fog that you stumble through, you will take 23 poison damage.
Ooh. This is horrible.
You continue your slog through towards High Hall. Make that second check, please.
Hylan got a 28 stealth.
Ofelia got a 19 stealth.
Corbin got a 15 stealth.
Reticence got a 14 survival.
I'm sorry to say this. Unfortunately, Corbin and Reticence, you again have failed. Hylan and Ofelia has succeeded. But the good news is that this is not poison. This is fire damage.
That's not good for me.
Corbin and Reticence, mitigated by whatever resistance you have. This is 27 fire damage.
Oh my god.
Okay, so that's 13 for me.
Can we do anything? Can we take an action?
I mean, you guys are running as you go, so these are sort of concurrent checks.
Oh, so these are our actions are to run through it.
Imagine the scene as all of you are either flying or running and just blasts of fire, explosions, waves of poisonous fog as you move through to High Hall.
Okay.
All right, and then the final check. This is a wave of both fire and poison coming at you like a giant explosion of noxious flaming gas. So your choice, folks, stealth or survival.
Hylan got a 25 stealth.
Corbin got a 24. Oh, thank God.
Ophelia got a 23.
Reticence got a 2.
Oh,
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Fire damage and poison damage. Fire damage, I rolled 10 fire damage.
Which is reduced to 5 for me.
Correct, 5 fire damage and 28 poison damage.
Oh my god.
So 33 damage total?
That is correct.
Okay.
Wow.
You finally waded through the fire and flames engulfing the promenade, this vast cathedral of High Hall looming above you. Now you can see, as the smoke and haze clears, that there is a pitched 3-way battle. Elter Guardian soldiers, demons, and devils. Now, although you cannot see much within the actual cathedral itself, the screams of men and fiends alike rebound into the street. On the steps of the cathedral, the Knights of Elturel wage a final stand against the forces of evil. You look to your left, you see an enormous devil with rotund belly and titanic wings splayed out behind it, wearing an eyeless helm and clutching an infernal battle standard in one clawed hand, and swinging a huge flaming mace in the other. And you kind of recognize this being from perhaps weeks ago when you first made your descent out of Elturel itself. This was the pit fiend that Gargo called Lucille. Lucille is beset on all sides by 4 hulking, pincered, clawed demons that tear at her flesh. I'm going to make a quick perception check for them to see if they spot you. Not all of them spot you coming, but 2 of them do. And they disengage from Lucille and begin to advance on your position. On the right side of the steps, and Hylan, when you spot this figure, your very blood chills. A tremendous winged fiend swinging a meat cleaver-like sword severs the head of a Balgura demon, and then, seeing no foes in its vicinity, swivels its armored head in your direction. And you recognize this fiend, Hylan.
Yep.
From the depiction on the bark of the drawing tree.
Yep.
A pair of gnarled, sweeping horns crest the broad head of this towering fiend. Leathery wings extend from its back, and it smiles wickedly with rows of yellow teeth. It has this intense strength. It drags its cleaver of black steel along the ground, bringing up sparks as it conjures flame in its other hand. And its eyes focus on you.
I just take the sword, I put it horizontally in front of me, I slowly run my hand the length of the sword, and I smile back at it.
First, it sort of sniffs the air, and then it says,
It has been ages since I have smelled the stink of ancient blood. Who be you?
I am Hylan. Kindly get out of my way.
It cackles, a glob of saliva hisses as it falls out of its mouth onto the street, and it points its cleaver in your direction, and it says,
Your skull will make a fine addition to my collection, Hylan.
It screams your name, which echoes through the streets, and we're gonna roll initiative.
All right.
Hi, everybody. The show will be back shortly for the second part. Cast Party's professional dungeon masters are available to hire for online games. We have games for kids as well as adults, and our DMs can run almost any of the official Dungeons & Dragons adventures, as well as third-party adventures, and even some we've created ourselves. Details at cast-party.com. Do you ever feel like you have a great visual picture in your head, but you need a little help putting it into words? Well, with a subscription to Describe, you can access thousands of descriptions of monsters, spells, locations, and more, as well as maps, music, and sound effects to enhance your games. Only at describe.com. That's DSCRYB.com. Would you like 10% off that subscription? Follow the link in the show notes and use the discount code CASTPARTY, all one word, all caps, to save 10% on your first subscription. As always, we're offering monthly free adventures with our Dungeon Masters. These free games fill up quickly, so if you'd like to grab a spot, you should join our email list or our Discord server. Links to both can be found at cast-party.com. If you enjoy Podcast Party, please follow the show, rate us, and leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you. Message us on social media or email us at info@cast-party.com. Follow us on Facebook at CastPartyDND, on Instagram at cast_party, and now on Blue Sky at Cast Party. Thanks very much for listening. Now back to our adventure. Everyone gets a +5 on their initiative.
Oh, cool.
Great. All right, in that case, Hylan got a 24.
Corbin got a 21.
Matt, Renaissance's initiative is actually 16 because I have advantage because I have the Vigilant Blessing.
Ofelia got a 25.
Does Beaky have his own initiative?
Yeah, Beaky's initiative is 18.
Looks like Ofelia is up first with a 25.
From Lulu's back, Ofelia fires a lightning bolt, and it should hit Free.
You're hitting both sides.
You're hitting the demons and the pit fiend Lucille. Okay, let me make dexterity saving throws for you. Lucille got a 19 on her save, and the pincer demons got a 21 and a 22.
All right, so everybody will take half damage. I rolled a 23, so that's 11. That's it for me.
Hylan, you're up.
I would have landed with everyone else. Okay, I walk 15 feet towards the horned devil, and then I hold out the Dragon's Wrath dagger and I unleash a 30-foot cone of radiant energy from it, and it must make a DC 16 dexterity saving throw.
15.
Yes! Eat radiant damage. Takes 29 radiant damage.
Nice.
It screams in pain.
And then I'm going to move back towards my friends so I can protect them with my aura, so 15 feet, and that's the end of my turn.
Corbin, Shiv, you're up.
Corbin is going to say,
Ilmater, protect us.
and he's going to use his Twilight Sanctuary, and everyone's going to get 19 temporary hit points at the end of their turn. And then for his bonus action, Corbin is going to cast on himself Steps of Night, though he is not going to fly off of Lulu. He's just going to create this spectral hand that sort of holds him, but he's going to stay on Lulu's back. And that's his turn.
These pincer demons, two of which seem to have noticed you, will not fully disengage as an action. They're actually going to take Lucille's swing at them. So Lucille will swing at these creatures with her mace and crit.
Wow.
Yeah, doing a lot of bludgeoning and fire damage to one of them. You see Lucille squint through that horned helmet in Ophelia's direction and growl, but she's fending off two of these pincer demons and she doesn't have the time. So one of these creatures, these pincer demons, they're called Glabrezu, will take a lot of damage. But undeterred, they will both advance on your position. They have a 10-foot reach with their pincers. They're both going to come within 10 feet of Lulu. One of these Glabrezu's pincers glow with a sort of sickly yellow light, and I would like Corbin and Ofelia to make wisdom saving throws, please.
It's a 15 for Ofelia.
And Corbin got a 22.
Ofelia, you unfortunately have failed the save on a spell called Confusion.
Oh no.
Well,
So this target can't take reactions. You have to roll a d10 at the start of each of your turns and determine what your behavior is for that turn. After it does so, it will move in range and attempt to slice at you with its pincers twice. 28 and a 21.
Both will hit.
The pincers crush you and do a total of 23 bludgeoning damage, and you are grappled.
Okay.
The other of these Glabrezu will as well cast a spell on Lulu. Lulu sort of begins to fly away a little bit in revulsion of these horrible creatures, but then every muscle in her body locks up as the spell Power Word Stun is cast, which immediately stuns Lulu. No
This is
save.
no joke.
no save.
No save with a Power Word spell series.
Yeah.
And in doing so, this creature will then make 2 attacks with advantage on Lulu.
Holy crap.
Both of those will be hits. That will do 34 bludgeoning damage to Lulu. Lulu is not looking good just in these first 2 attacks. She's gotten her head slammed by this one Glabrezu demon. And she's like, ah! Ow! Ah! And her teeth grit and her eyes begin to glow. Beaky's turn.
Beaky stalks around behind Lulu with Renascence on her back, and she moves to engage the Glabrezu that is south of Ofelia, and Beaky's gonna make 2 attacks, one with her beak and one with her claws. Her beak attack is a 21.
That will hit. Are Beaky's attacks magical?
No, 9 piercing damage.
You would expect a griffin's talons or beak to just rend the flesh of any normal creature like this, but it doesn't seem to do a whole lot of damage to it. You see a couple of scrapes, but not a whole lot on the Glabrezu.
Okay, so it is having some effect.
Correct.
Okay, so she does follow up with a claw attack then. That is a 13.
A 13 unfortunately will miss. It just bats Beaky's claws away.
That's it for Beaky.
Renascence is now your turn.
Beaky gets 19 temps, by the way.
Nice. I lay hands on myself for 40 hit points.
Thank
Great.
you.
That's my turn.
Let me check Power Word Stun. Con save at the end of its turns. So Lulu will make a save right now.
And she does get a +4 on this.
Ooh, not good. That's a 14 on the save.
Oh,
That's not enough, unfortunately, so she is still stunned. This horned devil that had challenged you, Hylan, will flap its wings and shoot straight up in the air 40 feet. And in its hand was this ball of flame, which it hurls at you. That's a 24 to hit.
Okay, so it hits me, yep.
That's 11 fire damage.
Yes, I uncanny dodge it.
Great, that's only 5 fire. It then apparates another ball of fire.
The 5 fire damage, Carrie, you only take 2, and then I would take 3, but I am resistant, so I take 1 point of fire damage.
That will make 2 more of those bombing fire attacks on you. The second attack is a 16,
That misses.
and the third attack is a 26.
Hits.
That's 14 more fire damage.
You take 7 fire damage, I take 3.
Got it. I just stare back at it.
That was the end of the Horned Devil's turn. It is now back at the top of the round, Ophelia's turn. The confusion spell is in effect, so we're gonna have you roll a d10.
I rolled a 10.
Good, I think that's good.
that's
with
good.
confusion.
You can act normally.
Yes.
Nice.
Cool.
I am going to cast Cure Wounds on Lulu.
Nice.
So that heals her for 5 hit points. Wish it was more than that. Do I do anything to get out of the confusion?
You get a wisdom save. If your turn's over.
I can give Bardic Inspiration out. I'm going to give it to Hylan.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then I will make a Wisdom saving throw.
You do get a +4 on it.
So that is a natural 20.
Fantastic, yes.
For a
The confusion
24.
spell ends on you.
Cool.
Excellent.
And you get 19 temps.
Cool. That's it for me.
Hylan, you're up.
Okay, I'm going to fly so that I'm hovering directly over my 3 friends and Beaky and Lulu. And I'm going to hover so that they would be within 15 feet of me. And then I'm going to bonus action cause the light from the Sword of Zariel to become bright in a 15-foot radius. And then any fiend that attacks within that radius will have disadvantage.
Nice.
And I am going to then, with my action, conjure a psychic blade for old time's sake and throw it at that horned devil. Plus 10 to, so that's only a 14.
A 14 unfortunately misses.
Okay, and I'm gonna stay where I am.
Corbin, you're up.
Corbin is going to close his eyes for a split second and think about his sister. And he is going to cast Spirit Guardians at 4th level.
Yes.
So the little
spell.
skipping stones will spin all around us. It will be a DC 18 Wisdom saving throw when it's on their turn. That's my turn. Hylan, you get 19 temps.
Thank you.
All right, so the Glabrezu demons will make wisdom saving throws. A 27 and a 21.
So they still each take 9 points of damage, and their movement is halved.
Then the southernmost Glabrezu demon will make 4 attacks on Beaky. 2 with its pincers and 2 with its fists. You see it actually has 4 arms. So its first pincer attack is a 26.
I will throw my shield in front of Beaky.
Fantastic. How much damage do you reduce?
I reduced it by 8.
Beaky only takes 4 bludgeoning damage, but unfortunately, the pincer gets just around Gargs and grapples Beaky. The second attack is a natural 1. The third attack, 13, and the fourth attack is a 13. Do any of those hit Beaky?
Yeah, those actually both hit.
Aww.
Beaky had temps. Don't forget
I know,
Beaky's
Beaky has
temps.
temps. Beaky has temps, I know.
So Beaky will take an additional 12 bludgeoning damage from those 2 hits. So the Glabrezu grabs Beaky with 1 pincer,
Yep.
misses the second one, and then just pummels Beaky right in the face with its 2 large ham fists.
Ouch.
Okay.
Did that even
All right,
get through the temps?
No, it didn't get through the temps, but Beaky doesn't like it. Beaky just shakes his head. Yeah.
One of these creatures is going to make an ability check as it casts a spell. It's attempting to dispel magic. It still has to make an ability check. So the DC is 14 because it's a spell of 4th or higher level. So it's going to make an intelligence check. Oh, it failed. It got a 10. So it did
Yes.
not actually dispel your spirit guardians.
Oh, it tried to get rid of my guardians. It can dispel magic.
It sure can. That said, it will attempt to make 2 pincer attacks on Lulu, who's stunned. So it's a wash because of the disadvantage from Hylan and the advantage from the stun. It's a wash on these 2 attacks. It got one of those pincer attacks through on a 22, doing 14 bludgeoning damage on poor Lulu. And now it's Beaky's turn.
Beaky is going to try to, I guess, make an athletics check to break out of the grapple, right?
Yep, and escape.
Beaky did get a 21.
Yeah, that's enough. Beaky's out of the grapple.
Okay.
Nice.
And I
All
believe
right.
that is Beaky's action, so Beaky's just going to stay there. Does Beaky collect temps?
18 temps for Beaky.
Okay.
Renascence, your turn.
he kind of leans down so I can reach, and I start smashing the Glabrazu that is right in front of me. First attack is a 17.
A 17 does hit.
5 bludgeoning damage plus a total of 11 radiant for 16 damage. And I'm going to go ahead and drop a level 1 divine smite on it. So that'll be an additional 15 radiant, so 31 radiant total.
Great.
And then my second attack was only an 11.
An 11 does not hit.
That is the end of my turn.
Okay, Lulu is still stunned, unfortunately, but she will make a con save, hopefully this time, to get out of it. Come on, Lulu. No, she got a 9. Fuck.
Oh, well, she does have a +4. I guess that wouldn't have helped.
That would have made it 13. That's still not enough.
Okay.
Lulu gets 18 temps. And Ren gets 18 temps.
Thank you.
Yeah, this horned devil is going to fly straight down into your group. He's just going to fly 60 feet straight down towards you. So he will be in the Spirit Guardians. So wisdom saving throw.
DC 18.
Failed with a 15.
Yes.
That's 19 points of radiant damage.
Yeah, he screams again in rage and pain and will strike out with its tail, which you see has this sort of crazy pointed barb on it, and its massive cleaver. It's going to swing them both at, all three of them actually, at you, Corbin.
Uh-oh.
First tail attack, a 25 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
That's 9 piercing damage with its tail. As the tail bursts through your armor, you feel this horrible sort of rupturing in your insides, and you look down and you see that there's a glowing wound, just like you've seen with some of these fiends that make horrible bleeding wounds that you have to staunch. Please make a Constitution saving throw.
You do get a +4 on the con save.
A 20.
Okay, but you are able to sort of like put your hand over it, and when the tail retracts, you seem to have weathered the worst of that tail attack. It doesn't seem to be bleeding anymore. Then it will make 2 more attacks on you, Corbin, with its cleaver. First attack with disadvantage is a 23, and then the second attack is a natural 20 on
You rolled
both.
two
my
20s?
God.
I'm going to throw my shield to block the first attack.
How much damage do you reduce?
Fuck, only 6.
So 5 piercing damage. Corbin, you will take, according to this, 34 piercing damage.
Oh!
Oh,
Wait, what?
God.
You crit,
I'm at 15. Now I need to make 3 concentration checks, right?
Oh, my
Yes, you do.
God.
You have +4s on all of them.
I have advantage on all of them. Here's the first one. Well, it's down. The first one's a 4 and a 7.
God.
So Spirit Guardians is gone.
So this creature just swings with all of its might into your side with this black iron cleaver, and you just feel like your ribs crack. You can see spots, and all of you just watch the Spirit Guardians sort of fizzle and then dissipate.
Oh, my God.
It's all right. Keep fighting. Don't do anything. Just fight.
Ophelia, it's your turn.
Tasha's mind whip on the Glabrazu who was being attacked by Beaky. And I'm gonna cast it at level 3. It's an intelligence save. You need to beat a 17.
Failed with an 11.
All right, so you're gonna take 13 psychic damage, and now it cannot take a reaction until the end of its next turn.
Great.
It needs to choose on its next turn. It can only get a move in action or a bonus action. It just gets 1.
Anything else, Ophelia?
I'm going to give Bardic Inspiration to Corbin.
18 temps if you need them.
Thank you. I do.
Hylan, you are up.
Okay, I'm going to fly down to within melee striking distance of this horned devil, and I'm going to stab out with the Sword of Zariel at it. That's a 21 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
Great. So that does 7 slashing damage, 8 extra radiant damage from the sword, and then I have sneak attack, and that's 21 points of sneak attack damage. So total, that is 36. I'm gonna pull out the dragon's dagger and stab it. It's 21 to hit.
21 hits.
Okay, so that's 4 piercing damage and 5 radiant for 9 damage on that hit. I'm gonna stay where I am.
All right, Corbin, you're up.
Corbin's very badly wounded, and he's gonna look at this horned devil and go, "You're strong, but not as strong as Ilmata." And he's going to cast Heal on himself for 70 points.
Yes!
Wow.
Bam.
Yes!
And then I'm just gonna roll my temps because I'm gonna need those. Another 18 temps.
And the Twilight Sanctuary stays up, which is the most important thing.
The two Glabrezu, seeing that the spirit guardians have somehow disappeared, although they look over at the devil with looks of disgust, they realize that, actually, I didn't even think about Lucille. Let me just roll a couple of attacks from Lucille on the other side here, and let's see how did she fare against these Glabrezus. Lucille is tearing it up. I think over the last 3 turns, she has made mincemeat out of one of the remaining 2 Glabrezu demons that has been assailing her, and she is now just down to 1. However, the 2 that are still with you will continue their assault. They will make 4 attacks, 2 with their pincers, 2 with their fists on the closest target to them. That is the mammoth Lulu and Beaky.
They do still have disadvantage on these.
They do because of Hylan's sword. Pincer, pincer, fist, fist. Lulu will take 15 bludgeoning damage.
I'm going to wrap Lulu in spectral dragon wings as that hit is coming down, and her AC is going to become 23.
But that's just for that one attack, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so the one does get through, doing 9 bludgeoning damage to Lulu. The other Glabrezu will slash and slam Beaky as best it can. It will as well have disadvantage. What's the Beaky's AC, please?
12.
Oh, Jesus. I'm afraid all 4 of them will hit then. With disadvantage.
Oh no.
The first attack that hits does 16 bludgeoning damage to Beaky. The second attack does 12 bludgeoning damage. It's grappled, obviously, by the first pincer. Then Glabrezu does 2 uppercuts into Beaky's beak, and those 2 fists equal to 15 bludgeoning damage. How's Beaky doing?
Beaky's there. Beaky took a couple of heavy hits, but Beaky's hanging in there.
Oh my goodness.
Well, Beaky can certainly retort, because it's now Beaky's turn.
Okay, yeah, Beaky will return fire. Beaky beaks, with an 11, which I'm sure will miss.
I love that you made that a verb. Continue, yeah.
And then she rakes with her claws with a 12.
No, unfortunately, just sort of wildly flailing.
All right, that's Beaky's turn.
18 temps.
Renascence, you're up.
I trace my fingers over the eye on my breastplate, and I say, I'm the Watcher. I'm the shield against the endless terrors that lie beyond the stars. And I'm going to abjure the extraplanar.
Yes.
So both Glabrezu and the Horned Devil must make DC 17 charisma saves.
Wow.
The first one got an 18 on its charisma save. The second one got a 16 on its charisma save. And then the Horned Devil got a 25 on its charisma save. So one of the Glabrezu is affected, the other one is not.
Okay, so one of the Glabrezu is turned. It has to spend its action and movement to get as far away from me as possible. That will continue for the next minute. There are no further saves.
Anything else for you, sir?
That is it.
18 temps if you need them.
Thank you.
Lulu's still stunned, but she's just hanging in there as best she can. Con save. Come on, Lulu. Get better than a 15.
She does get a +4.
Yes.
With the +4, she makes it. She got a 17. She shakes her head. She's like, what's going? She just screams in anger.
She has missed the entire fight so far.
Yes.
Unfortunately, she didn't miss it. She's been sitting there having to just watch it and get hit the whole time.
Yeah.
18 temps it is. The Horned Devil looks at you, Corbin, is like,
Why aren't you dead yet?
and then swings its tail.
Disadvantage, right, for this guy?
Disadvantage, yep. First attack with a tail. A 20 with disadvantage.
Yep, that hit.
So I will throw my shield out.
How much do you absorb?
I block 15 points of damage.
Nice.
Okay, you block it all.
Excellent.
And then it will swing its cleaver at you, Corbin. Twice.
You're on your own now.
Disadvantage a 27 and a 14.
So the 27 hits, the 14 misses.
15 piercing damage on you, Corbin.
Ophelia fires a lightning bolt.
The one who is turned is the one furthest from you to the southwest.
So I'm going to cast it on the other one, the one that's engaged with Beaky. So it's a DC 17 dex save.
It failed with a 13.
Takes
Yes.
27 lightning damage.
Nice.
Shocking blast of energy, and you just see this blasted hole right in the middle of it. It staggers for a sec, growls, and looks at you intensely, Ofelia.
I look intensely back.
So I'm going to first try to stab it with the Sword of Zariel, and that is a 7, so that misses. So I'm now going to pull out the Dragon Dagger and try to stab it with that instead. That's a 23 to hit.
Yes, indeed.
35 total damage with sneak attack.
Yeah, you just jam that dragon's dagger in there, and you find a purchase, and then just wrench it up, and it screams in pain.
Okay, I'm gonna stay where I am.
Corbin, you're up.
You get 18 temps if you need them, and Ofelia, you get 18 temps if you need them. Corbin is going to pull out his Hellfire Warhammer and try to hit the Horn Devil. It's a 12.
Nope, unfortunately, swings through the air.
And then he is going to make a little sliver of orange light behind this asshole. Same guy, the Horn Devil. Mm-hmm. And cast Spiritual Weapon.
Yes.
And that's a 28.
28 hits.
And that's 9 points of force damage on him. And he's going to re-roll his Twilight Sanctuary for 19. So this round it's 19, everyone.
Great.
And that's his turn.
One of the Glabrezus is affected by your Abjure the Extraplanar and runs from your position using all of its movement and its action to run as fast as it can in the opposite direction. As it does so, it passes right by Lucille. Lucille, seeing this thing coming, roars and swings her enormous mace at the Glabrezu. And let's see how she does here. A 32 to hit.
We don't want to fight Lucille.
Doing 38 damage. Now, question for you, Tal. Mm-hmm. If a creature is damaged, what happens?
It's not turned anymore.
Okay.
But I mean, it's with Lucille now.
God help them. Yeah, so the Glabrezu now finds itself back essentially in the same place it was before about 2 minutes ago, fighting this titanic pit fiend. But the other Glabrezu is still engaged with Beaky and will make 4 attacks against Beaky.
With disadvantage.
Yep, unfortunately all 4 still hit. First attack with the pincer, which pins Beaky in place, is 20 bludgeoning damage. Second attack is 13 bludgeoning damage. Third attack is 8 bludgeoning damage, and fourth attack is 5 bludgeoning damage.
How's Beaky?
Beaky's very badly hurt, but she is still there. She's still there for now.
It's now Beaky's turn. Beaky's
gonna attack the Glabrezu that is slowly killing it. First hit is a 25.
Yes!
Nice.
Oh!
All right, Beaky.
11 piercing, which I assume is reduced to 5.
It is reduced to 5.
And Beaky claws for 24.
Heck yeah!
And that is 12 slashing, which is reduced to 6.
Reduced to 6. Not a bad round for your mount.
Okay, that's it for Beaky.
All right, Renascence, you're up.
First attack with Heaven's Fall is a 15.
15 does not hit.
Second attack is a 19.
The 19 does.
Okay.
Great.
6 bludgeoning and 3 radiant for a total of 9 damage. Yeah, fuck it. I will go ahead and drop another level 1 divine smite on it. Another 7 radiant. 16 total on the round. That is my turn.
19 temps for you and Beaky.
Nice.
Yay!
Yeah, only reason Beaky is still here.
It is Lulu's turn. Lulu is no longer stunned and she's fucking pissed. So Lulu does have a new kind of trumpet, and this is one that you have not yet seen her do. In this form she can, and that is the Trumpet of Blasting.
Yes.
Listen as just this cacophonous sound issues forth from Lulu's internals, just exiting through her trunk, and she aims it in the direction of this horned devil.
Yes.
And the horned devil will need to make a Constitution saving throw. Holy shit, it failed with a 7.
Nice.
This horned devil.
Yay, Lulu.
11 thunder damage, but the creature is deafened for a minute, so it just holds the sides of its head in pain.
Wow.
So it just sort of shakes its head and then will strike out at Lulu with its tail. Missing with a 14. Lulu just bats away the creature's tail with her trunk, and then frustrated, the horned devil swings at Lulu with its cleaver twice. Only one of those cleaver attacks hits, and it doesn't even go through all of her temps. Ofelia, your turn.
Ofelia is going to cast Dissonant Whispers at level 2 on this stupid Glabrezu that is still engaged with Beaky. So that is a wisdom saving throw.
It got a 19.
So it saves, meaning it takes half damage, which would be 6 psychic damage.
All right.
Anything else, Ofelia?
That's it for me.
Hylan, you're up.
I can see that this horned devil is like grabbing at its head and it's exposing a little bit of its ribcage. So I'm going to try to stab through it with the beaming sword of Zariel. That's a 21 to hit.
Yes, a 21 will hit.
Great. I also get sneak attack. That's 10 slashing, 8 radiant for a total of 18 on the hit, and then it's 35 sneak attack damage for a total of 53 damage on the first hit.
Yeah, that took a lot out of this creature. You see this glowing wound appear across its midsection. It spits all of this black blood out of its mouth.
I just say, you looked a lot scarier in your cartoon. And then I'm gonna take the dagger, the Dragon's Wrath dagger, and stab it with that. And that's a 31 to hit.
31 hits.
4 piercing and 5 radiant for 9 more points of damage. And I'm gonna stay where I am.
And you get 19 temps.
Thank you.
He's going to take another shot with his Hellfire Warhammer for a 24.
24 hits.
7 bludgeoning and 6 radiant with his Blessed Strikes. Bonus action, he's going to try to hit him with the pillow. Natural 1 for an 11.
Nope.
The pillow whiffs, and that's his turn.
It is now the Glabrezu's turn. There are still 2 of them left. Lucille probably has, by this time, she probably just has one of these things left and is now facing off against the one that you had turned, Renascence.
Are they damaging her at all?
They are, very much so, yeah. No, Lucille is in a bad way. You see her wings are torn, her skin is pierced and mutilated, and she still has a giant burn mark from where Ofelia blasted her with that lightning bolt. So yeah, the Glabrezu will slash at Lucille 4 times. Only 1 will hit. Punches Lucille across the face. Lucille's helmet sort of shatters a bit, and you see this horribly tormented and vile-looking pit fiend's face. It looks with hatred towards the enemy in front of it. The other Glabrezu will move into the space between Beaky and Lulu and do 2 attacks with its 10-foot reach on 2 different foes. Ofelia twice and Beaky twice. The 2 attacks on you, Ofelia. 17.
Hits.
Nope. Dragon wings flash out of my feathery wings and envelop Ofelia, and she gets a +5 to her AC.
Okay, then it misses.
Okay, that's the first attack on you, misses. Second attack is a 27.
That'll hit.
13 bludgeoning damage. You are grappled.
Your temp should eat that.
Yeah, my temps ate that.
And then 2 attacks on Beaky. Both of them unfortunately will hit. The first one is 17 bludgeoning.
Whoa!
And then the second one is 15 bludgeoning. No, tell me no.
No.
Beaky has 3 hit points left.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
That thing's absorbing damage. It's great.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, Beaky.
Beaky's turn.
Finish him, Beaky!
You know what? Beaky's gonna swing us around and flank with Ofelia.
All right.
And then Beaky's gonna go to town. Go to town, Beaky. 21.
21 hits.
9 piercing damage reduced to 4. Claws 16.
16 misses, unfortunately.
Just make sure you swing back around because you're out of my range of protection now.
Okay, Beaky swings back.
18 temps.
18 attempts for Beaky. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, Renascence will take 2 swings with Heaven's Fall. First attack is an 11.
And 11 misses.
Second is a 13.
A 13 will also miss.
That's it.
Lulu will blast this fucking demon in the face with her trumpet of blasting and hope to kill it. So this is a wisdom saving throw. Got a 14 on the dot, which is Lulu's DC. So it will take half this damage. 10 thunder damage.
Oh, at least it was a good roll.
And Lulu stays where she is. The horned devil floating right next to you, Hylan, looks down at its open wound, grits its teeth, and with all of its remaining might swings all of its attacks into you. First, the tail attack. That is a 15 to hit.
That misses.
And now it's 2 cleaver attacks. 28.
That will hit.
22 piercing damage.
Uncanny dodge it.
So that's going to be 5 damage for you and 6 for me.
And then the second attack is a cleaver attack of 20. Damage is 21.
That's 10 for you and 11 for me.
That's its turn. Ofelia, you're up.
Okay, I'm going to once again cast Dissonant Whispers at level 2 on this Glabrezu.
Wisdom saving throw. You got a 16. So that's a failure.
Okay, that's a fail. So it's going to take 12 psychic damage and it needs to run on its turn in the opposite direction from me.
It doesn't need to run because Ofelia, you've downed it, so tell me how it goes.
Yes! All right. Ophelia's eyes roll back in her head and she starts furiously whispering and playing her violin. And then you see the Glabrezu's eyes roll back in its head and they don't come back.
Nice.
And Ophelia's do.
Awesome.
Anything else, Ofelia?
That's it for me.
18 temps if you need them.
Hylan, you're up.
So it seems like I'm stabbing and then time is passing and I'm stabbing, but really from my point of view, I'm just stab this horned devil. And so I'm just 1-2, I'm like stabbing him with the sword and then I'm taking out the dagger and stabbing and then I'm switching to the sword again. I'm going to stab it with the sword of Zariel and I got a 28 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
Great. 11 slashing and 2 radiant for 13, and then I will roll the sneak attack. 31 sneak attack damage, that's a total of 44 points of damage.
Hylan, please tell me how you killed Abarax the Butcher.
Yeah! Many, many moons ago, I saw a drawing of this horrible creature and was told I would face it one day, and I had no idea how I would ever do it. And now today I stand there with my beautiful feathered wings and my silvery eyes and this beautiful sword, and I feel ready to face it. And as I plunge, this absolutely it almost hurts your eyes. It's glowing so much, this sword. And I plunge it into its disgusting body. It just slowly melts and sizzles with the radiant energy coming out of the sword, and it is gone, and I have defeated it.
Awesome. Approximately the same time, you just hear a sickening crunch as Lucille grabs this last Glabrezu by the throat and rips it in two. Ichor just sprays everywhere.
I know I shouldn't like her, but I do.
Lucille sort of swivels in your direction, looks at the Glabrezu that has been felled by you, also then looks at the destroyed body of Abarax, and Lucille sort of stomps in your direction and then says in a grotesque, low voice,
Couldn't stand the fucker anyway.
and then unfurls her wings and flies straight up into the air.
Nice.
Lucille!
Thanks for listening. This episode featured the Dungeon Master stylings of Matt Gordon, with Andy Cannistra as Painbearer Corbin Shiv, Carolyn Fox as Hylan, Rachel Tamarin as Ofelia, and me, Tal Aviezer, as Renascence. This episode was edited by me and Carolyn Fox. Our original theme music is by Lauren Anker and Anthony DiMasso. Remember, if you enjoy Podcast Party, please follow the show, rate us, and leave us a review.
We don't have much time. We need to get to the top of the where are we?
Hi-haw?